Okay, so welcome to yoga. I'm Micki Josi. I'm the yoga teacher, and I'm also a math teacher at PCC. And so this is my little home studio, but I'm envious a little bit of your outdoor space, Laura, because I would like to be. I've been doing yoga in the park a little bit, so maybe I'll take it to the park one of these days. But anyway, if you have any kind of blanket, this could be helpful. Just for sitting on or like patting your knees to make a little bit more cushion. So I also like to use blocks, but you don't have to have blocks. Um, a bolster or a pillow could be helpful, and I'm going to set this off to the side. And then anything you can use as a strap. And if you don't have these things today, we can always, work on gathering them during the week for next time. This is a yoga strap, but this is like the tie, a belt to a coat. And then for next time, I don't want you to run and try and get it now, but let's all try for next time to bring a tennis ball, and we can do some self-massage with the tennis ball. So after I went to a yoga class once, I went directly to Fred Meyer and bought tennis balls and racket balls because we used them in class. So let's try that for next time. We have 4 weeks together. And so, yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is come to lying on your back. And so you can come down onto your yoga mat, however it feels comfortable for you. And then you can get all your props kind of out of the way. We don't need any of these props. But we're going to come into what's called a constructive rest pose. So you can walk your feet as wide as your mat, lie back, maybe even if you want, you could put a pillow under your head or just lie your head on the ground. And then allow your arms to either rest at your sides, or if you'd like, you can bring your hands onto your belly. And then we're going to allow the knees to tent together. So this is so that you can have a little bit of support for the low back, and also allow yourself to really soften here. So you might allow your chin to gently tuck towards your chest, and just start to feel the rise and fall of the breath. Allow the shoulders to melt down and start to breathe through your nose. In yoga, we're trying to connect ourselves to our breath and allow our focus to come into the present moment. Just notice in the body where you can soften. Feel the support of the earth rise to meet you. You might close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Just become aware of any sensations in the body. If you notice your mind starts to wander into the future, planning, you might just allow yourself to come back to the present moment. Maybe supporting the hands on the belly can allow you to feel the rise and support of your breath. Rise and fall, I should say. And if your mind starts to wander to thoughts of the past, you can allow it to come back to the present moment. Imagine any thoughts in the mind are like clouds gently floating by. This year in my yoga classes, I've been theming each class around yoga's ethical practices. These are called the yamas and the niyamas. And the yamas are kind of like yoga's instructions on how we should interact with the world. And the niyamas are yoga's instructions on how we could interact with ourselves. So for the month of July, this month in our classes, I'll be talking about the idea of santosha, which means contentment. This is the second jewel of the niyamas. There are 5 of them. And santosha invites us into contentment by taking refuge in a calm center, opening our hearts in gratitude for what we have, and practicing non-seeking. If this idea of santosha or contentment speaks to you, you might allow it to be an intention for your practice. And by intention, I just mean something you'd like to focus on. So when thoughts start to carry your mind away, you might just gently remind yourself of the idea of santosha, contentment. Staying in the calm center and cultivating gratitude. Allow that seed of intention, whatever it might be. Maybe it's not santosha, maybe it's something else, to plant itself at your heart center. And then you might imagine that this intention has a color. Start to imagine that seed of intention as a glowing orb at your heart center. With the inhale, the glowing color starts to expand throughout the body and brighten. And with your next exhale, allow it to deepen in color. And go ahead and take 3 more breaths just like that, seeing the color brighten and glow, and seeing the color deepen with your exhale. You can feel and sense the support of the earth rising to meet you. Feel the weight of gravity holding you to the ground, gently hugging you. And then we'll start to invite some movement in. So with your feet on the ground and your feet as wide as the mat, allow the knees to gently float over to the left. You might gently send your gaze over to the right. Take a nice deep breath here. And then on your next inhale, float the knees and the nose back up to center. Exhale, the knees float over to the right and the nose comes over to the left. And then you can gently windshield wiper your knees and your nose back through center and side to side a few more times, sending the breath to any areas of tension or holding in the body. Allowing the thoughts to connect to the breath, sending the mind into the areas of the body that need attention. Just allowing yourself to be present to this experience. Go ahead and take 1 nice deep breath on each side. And then when you're ready, after you feel complete from side to side, you can roll onto one side and then press yourself up into a seat. We'll come to a seated position, And this is where a blanket might be helpful, because if you have a blanket or a pillow, you can make a little seat for yourself. And then when you sit on the edge of the blanket or the pillow, you can kind of wedge it underneath your sit bones to help lengthen through your spine. So just find a comfortable seat. We call this seat Sukhasana, and it really means an easy pose. So from seated, let's bring the hands onto the knees and then begin to allow the right ear to fall towards the right shoulder, allowing the left shoulder to melt away. You might feel a nice gentle stretch through the side of the neck. You can close down the eyes and then take a moment to maybe begin to gently nod the head yes, allowing yourself to practice inviting in new opportunities. What are you wanting to say yes to? And then come back to neutral, and you can begin to gently shake your head no, practicing boundaries and saying no. What can you release that no longer serves you? And then we'll draw the chin to center. You can take a deep breath in center, bowing your head towards your heart. And then on the next inhale, roll your left ear towards your left shoulder, sending the breath cascading down the right side of the neck from the ear to the shoulder. And once more, you might begin to gently shake the head no. And then begin to gently nod the head yes. And then when you're ready, come back to stillness. And you can draw the chin towards the chest, once more bowing your head towards your heart. On the next inhale, let's roll it over to the right side. And this time you can bring your right hand up, and you might place it on your neck and just begin to gently massage from the ear down the side of the neck with the right hand on the left side of the neck. Send some nice deep breaths into the neck. And offer gratitude for the strong, healthy neck that turns in all directions. It allows you to see behind your shoulders, see what's coming behind you, to the side. And then when you're ready, you can release your hand back onto your knee, draw your chin gently towards your chest, bowing your head to your heart, and then send your left ear over towards the left, drawing your left ear towards your left shoulder. And this time you might take your left hand to the side of your neck and just gently massage. Next week, if you think of it, maybe I'll make a list of some supplies that could be helpful. You might even bring an essential oil like lavender. Use some essential oil to help massage the side of the neck. Sending gratitude towards the neck. Maybe noticing gentle, subtle variations from left to right, allowing for compassion and curiosity. And then we'll release the hand back onto the knee, allow the chin to trace the front of the chest, and just take one nice deep breath in center. And then on your next inhale, you can lift the chin up to parallel. On the next inhale, let's roll the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, allow the shoulders to cascade down the back. Inhale, roll the shoulders up. Exhale, allow them to cascade back and down. You can take a few more rounds like this, following the pace of your own breath. Maybe it would feel good to toggle one shoulder at a time. Sending breath into the shoulders. And then go ahead and reverse the direction of your toggle, bringing the shoulder up from behind and down around in front. Once more, you can soften your gaze or close down your eyes. And each time, if your mind begins to wander, rushing to the next thing, you might bring yourself back to your intention. And then we'll sync the movement up together. So draw the shoulder blades to kiss at your back. Inhale to bring them up towards the ears, and exhale, round them down in front. Go ahead and take 2 more rounds like this. Inhale, draw the shoulders up. Exhale, round them down in front. And one more time. Now let's go ahead and reverse the cross of our ankles. So you can bring the opposite leg out in front. And just kind of thinking about some of your habitual patterns, changing that up. So we'll inhale to lift the arms up overhead, look up, lift the heart, and then exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and exhale to draw them to the heart center. Inhale, we reach, and exhale, lower. Once your hands arrive at your heart center, go ahead and interlace your fingers. Press your palms forward as you round the spine back. Now we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead, lifting the spine tall. And with your next exhale, you can turn to the left, release the hands down, and you can bring your right hand onto your left knee. Place your left hand behind you and turn your gaze behind your left shoulder. Looking behind that shoulder. With each inhale, growing the spine taller. Each exhale might allow you to twist a tiny bit further. With your next exhale, allow just the chin to trace the front of the chest. And you can turn your gaze past your right shoulder. Take a nice deep breath here. And then exhale, come back to center. We'll bring the hands to meet at the heart center and go ahead and interlace the hands the opposite way, so the awkward way. And then you can press the palms forward as you round your spine back. Inhale to lift the heart, lift the gaze, lift the hands overhead. And then exhale, we'll turn to the right and you can release the fingers down. Bring the left hand onto the right knee. And then you can place the right hand behind you, maybe on the ground. This is where sometimes a block could be helpful if you needed to lift the ground towards your hand. Send your gaze behind your right shoulder, and with each inhale, grow the spine a little taller. Each exhale might allow you to twist a little further to the right. Take a nice deep breath here, and on the exhale, allow your chin to trace the front of your chest, and you can turn just the gaze past your left shoulder. Take a nice deep breath here, and then with your next exhale, We'll unwind the twist, coming back to center. Let's interlace the fingers once more, and you can start to draw some figure eights with the wrists. Just warming up through the wrists. You might notice some snap, crackle, pops. And then reverse the direction. With your next exhale, you can release the hands and give them a gentle shake. And then we'll press the palms towards the outside of the room. So imagine you're pressing the walls away. And then you can go ahead and bring the hands forward with the thumbs pointing up. We'll make fists with the fingers, point the knuckles forward. And on your inhale, you can lift the knuckles up towards the sky. And then the exhale, go ahead and bring the knuckles down towards the ground. Lengthening through the forearms. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And let's just do one more round. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Now we'll bring the hands back to the heart center. And you can go ahead and bring the right hand out in front, make a fist, and then bring the left fingertips around the wrist. You're going to gently pull down on the wrist as you start to make some circles with the fist. Just warming up the wrists, hoping that we can find some movement with them. Go ahead and reverse the direction. So we're going to be coming on to hands and knees next. That can be sometimes challenging for the wrists. Go ahead and release the fingers, spread them wide, and we'll go to the opposite side. So you can make a fist with the right hand or the left hand. Bring the right hand around the wrist, gently pull towards, you're just gently tugging the skin down as you start to make some circles with the fist. Start in one direction, and then we'll move to the opposite direction. And then go ahead and release that. We'll give the hands a nice gentle shake. And then we're going to come onto hands and knees. And this is where a blanket could be helpful underneath the knees. So you just want to pad the knees so that they're not painful on hands and knees. So I like to bring a blanket. I mean, I already have carpet too and 2 yoga mats. So this is some extravagance for the knees, but that's okay. So we'll pad the knees and then bring the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. And we're going to start taking a few rounds of cat and cow. So on your next inhale breath, go ahead and drop the belly, lift the heart, extend the chin a little bit forward. And then on your next exhale, you can round the spine, drawing the belly in towards the spine. Go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath. You can either have the toes tucked under or not, either way. Inhale for cow. Exhale to round into cat. Inhale to round into cow. And exhale to round into cat. You can keep doing your cat-cows just like that, or if you like, you could start to draw a big circle with the belly button, imagining you're tracing the inside of a hula hoop. You can go slow, or you could speed this up. And if you're taking your time, you might just begin to explore any places that feel interesting or in need of special attention. If you find any of those places, you might just hold that spot for a breath. And then continue on your journey. Allow yourself to marvel at the design of your perfect spine. All the directions it can move. And when you're ready, you can reverse the direction of those circles. And again, if you feel any places that are particularly interesting, you might hold them for a breath. Take one more nice deep breath, and then we'll come back to neutral. We're going to get ready for child's pose. So this is one of the most famous yoga poses. You can bring your big toes to touch and begin to open your knees out wide to the sides, sinking your hips back. And then you can walk your hands out in front and start to lower your forehead towards the mat. If it doesn't feel like the floor is a great place for you to rest your forehead, you could stack the palms and make a little pillow to rest your forehead. I would encourage you to see if reaching the arms long and allowing your forehead to rest is within reach. You can allow your elbows to soften onto the mat. Allow your heart to melt forward. And just notice any tension that lives in the shoulders and in the upper back. Imagine that tension can bead up like a water droplet. And then just like water cascading off of a duck's back, allow that tension with your breath to melt away. Imagining that that water is nourishing to the earth. Sometimes the things that don't serve us are actually beneficial to other things in the world, and we can let them go. On your next inhale, we'll press back up to center. And you're in a wide kneed hands and knees. So the hands are now underneath the shoulders. Leave the knees wide. And we're going to come into thread the needle. So for this, let's plant the right palm and you can open the left arm up towards the sky, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze. And then we're going to take that hand and swing it underneath the body. And this is called thread the needle, threading the arm underneath the right shoulder. You can come to land on the left shoulder and the left temple. And you might continue to use your right hand to support your weight. Hopefully you feel a nice gentle twist in the upper back and shoulder, but no pain. In yoga, we don't want to feel pain. You might feel sensation here, but if there's pain, we want to back off or find some other variation. Whenever you're ready, you can press into that right hand, press yourself up and open up the left arm towards the sky, maybe gazing up at the left fingertips, and then exhale, we'll release that side. We're going to get ready for the right side. So go ahead and sweep the right arm up towards the sky, lift the heart and the gaze. And then on the exhale, you can thread the needle under, thread the right arm underneath the left shoulder. Come to rest on the right shoulder, allowing the right temple to rest. And you might continue to support your weight with your left hand. Take a nice deep breath here. Notice where you can soften. And then when you're ready, we'll press into that left hand. Inhale to open the right arm up and exhale to release. Now let's come onto our forearms, and you can bring the knees back towards center underneath the hips. With your palms on the ground and your forearms on the ground, you can extend the left leg back, tuck the left toes under, and begin to send breath cascading down the back of the leg. You can press your heel towards the mat, finding length through the back of the calf. Take a nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, we'll return the left knee to the mat and switch sides so you can extend the right leg back, tuck the toes under, and press the heel towards the mat. Imagining your breath like the wave of an ocean, crashing down the back of your right leg, allowing length through the back of the calf. And then when you're ready, we'll return that knee to the mat, and you can walk your hands back. Let's tuck the toes under, and we're going to come back into what's called broken toe pose. One of my teachers calls it blissful toe pose. But you might come up onto your fists, and you're sinking your weight back towards your heels with your toes tucked under. So it's going to be quite a bit of sensation and stretch for the undersides of the feet. Allow yourself to send breath into the feet. And if you'd like more, you can lift up, coming to sit on the heels. Or if you'd like less, you can always walk it a little bit forward. Take a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can untuck your toes and give your feet a gentle tap. Then we're going to come forward onto our bellies. So go ahead and walk your hands forward of your shoulders. And then on your knees, you can lean forward to come into a plank. You can always tuck your toes under and lift your knees for a high plank, but you're welcome to stay on your knees for more support. Whenever you're ready, we'll gently lower onto the belly. And then if you have any props in front of you, you can move them out of the way. We'll bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. And maybe it's even weird to have your blanket underneath your knees still. You could take that out of the way if you'd like to. Mine's too big. So we'll bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, press the palms into the mat, energetically drag the hands back as you reach the heart forward for Sphinx pose. You might begin to activate those arms, really reaching the heart forward, finding that gentle back bend. Keeping the gaze pretty level. And then with your next exhale, we're going to stack the palms, bringing the elbows out wide to the side. You can soften your forehead onto the back of your hands. This pose is called crocodile pose. Allow the back body to fill with breath. Allow yourself to come back to your intention. Notice the seed of your intention glowing and glowing is good, from the back of the heart. When you're ready, we'll bring that palms underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes under, and then we'll press up through table or plank. And then we're going to find our first downward facing dog. And you can always skip down dog if you'd like as well. So for downward facing dog, this is one of the most popular yoga poses in most every class. Your arms are a bit forward of your wrists. You can tuck the toes under, and then you're going to lift the knees to press the hips up and back for downward facing dog. You might take a moment to pedal your heels towards your mat, sashaying your hips a little side to side. And if you'd like to skip down dog, that's perfectly fine. You can always feel free to modify any of the poses that I'm recommending. When you're ready, we'll begin to walk our hands towards our feet or our feet towards our hands to come into a forward fold. From here, you can walk your feet a little wider than hips distance to have a little more support and room for your belly if it's needing space. And then you can go ahead and grasp your hands around your opposite elbows and allow yourself to gently ragdoll here from side to side. You might begin to shake your head no and nod your head yes. And then we'll release the hands down towards the mat. Drag your hands up onto your shins. Press into your shins to lengthen your arms and lift your back up halfway. Take a nice deep inhale and then exhale to release, bringing the hands back down towards the ground. And then you can bend into the knees and we'll begin to roll the spine up gently and slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Once you arrive at standing, we'll bring the palms out to the sides. And then you can inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Just gonna lift the camera up a little bit higher. Don't know how it towards the ground. And then once more, let's inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. Now we're going to come into what's called chair pose. So you can start to, and you can do a very gentle chair. So you can just start to bend into the knees. Imagine you're going to sit back into a chair and draw the belly gently in towards the spine. You can leave the hands at the heart center, or you might reach your arms up past your ears. On the next inhale, we'll rise to center, and exhale, bring the hands to the heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up past the ears. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, bring the hands to the shins and lift up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to sweep the arms up and come to stand. And exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. That's what's called a half sun salutation. So let's go ahead and do 2 more rounds of half sun salutations together. And you can always slow it down or speed it up following the pace of your own breath. So with the next inhale, we'll sweep the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift, pressing the palms against the shins. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the hands up overhead as you lengthen tall. And exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Go ahead and take one more round at your own pace. Inhale, we sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. On the next inhale, we'll sweep the hands up overhead. And exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. Go ahead and bring the hands to your sides with the palms facing forward. And we call this mountain pose. So I'm going to turn so I'm at the top of the mat. So you can walk to the top of your mat. We're going to try warrior one. So let's bring our hands onto our hips and you can slide the left foot back. So you're coming into a wide-legged stance, but your right foot is pointing forward. The left foot is off to 45 degrees. We'll square the hips towards the front, and then you can bend that front knee so that it's tracking towards your toes and stacked over your heel. Go ahead and open your heart up towards the sky, and then if you'd like, you can bring your hands from your hips and float them up towards the sky for warrior one. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears, finding length through the front left hip. Notice if you can have a strong stance from the belly down, and then find lightness from the belly button up, allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears. And then on the next exhale, let's draw the hands to the heart center. You can bring the hands to the hips, and then we'll lean the torso gently forward, and you can take a few rounds to step it up for both hands to meet, or both feet to meet at the top of your mat. Let's inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. On the next inhale, you can circle sweep the arms back up overhead. And then exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. Go ahead and release the hands to your sides for mountain pose. Maybe take an inventory of your breath. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Allow your mind's eye to come back to your seat of intention. And then we'll bring the hands to the hips and get ready for warrior one pose on the second side. So with your left foot planted, you're going to step your right foot back, imagining your feet are on train tracks. You can have the right foot at 45 degrees. Keep the left foot pointing forward, and then you're going to bend into the front knee so that it's tracking towards the toes, and the knee is stacked over the ankle. If you'd like from here, you can inhale to reach the arms up past the ears, maybe lifting the heart, lifting the gaze for warrior one. Find strength and stability in the legs and the lightness and brightness from the waist up. Take one more nice deep breath here, and on your next exhale, you can float the hands down to the heart center. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. Lean your torso slightly forward. You can take a few steps to step it up to standing in mountain pose. With your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then on your next inhale, you can bend into the knees as you scoop the arms up and overhead. Exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. While we're at standing, we're going to try a balancing pose called tree pose. And I thought that was kind of good for our theme because sort of the idea of getting rid of what you don't need and how it can be beneficial for something else, like your exhale that nourishes the trees so the trees can nourish you. So this is a very classic balancing pose, one of our more popular ones in yoga. And you can always find a wall space or maybe a counter if you're feeling like it might be too much for balancing. So I'll just demonstrate with my art bar here. We're going to begin to ground down through the left leg. So imagine on the bottom of your leg, bottom of your foot, rooting down into the ground. And then you can start to peel your right heel off of the mat. So your right heel is lifted, your toes are down. And then you can rotate that right knee out to the side and maybe bring the left or the right heel onto the left ankle. You can stay right here with your arms maybe out at your sides or on your hips. Or you could slide that heel up to rest on your calf. You might invite the hands to meet at the heart center. And if you find a dristi, which we call a simple gaze point, so maybe just a point off the tip of the nose on the ground, something stable to allow you to explore balance. If you'd like, you can bring that seed of intention to the center of the palms. And then maybe you open up the middle fingers like a lotus mudra. When you're ready, if you'd like, you can grow the fingers and the hands up overhead, sending out your seed of intention to the universe. When you're ready, we'll bring the hands back to the heart center, lift the knee, and gently replace the foot back down. Now let's open up the feet wide, and you can begin to shake it off, rotating the arms around you, gently allowing a massage of the arms, tapping your sides. And then we'll come back to center and we'll get ready for tree pose on the opposite side. So if you need another wall space or even a chair could be helpful. We're going to begin to root down through our right foot. So imagining those roots growing out the bottom of the toes, the bottom of the feet. Find some strong steadiness through the right side. And then you can begin to peel your left heel off of the mat. Let's open the left knee out to the side, and you can allow the heel to maybe rest at the ankle, or you can slide that foot up to rest against the calf, just not at the knee. And you can explore balance here, maybe keeping your hands on your hips, or bringing your hands to your heart center. You might find a place to focus your intention, right off the tip of the nose, on the ground, or at the horizon. And then once more, let's bring that seed of intention back to the heart center. And you can plant it in between the palms. Allow the 3 middle fingers to lotus open. And then if you'd like, you can grow your tree limbs towards the sun. Take a nice deep breath here. Allow the shoulders to relax. Soften any areas of tension or holding. And then when you're ready, you can bring the hands back to the heart center, step the left foot out wide, and gently shake it off. Now we'll come back to center. And from the top of your mat, you can inhale to sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, gently swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Now you can come into downward facing dog or however you like. We're going to meet up in hands and knees. So you can walk your feet back, planting your palms for downward facing dog, or just gently make your way onto your knees, however feels right. You can take a few breaths in down dog, or if you prefer, you can come onto your hands and knees. And then when you're ready from your downward dog, we'll come all of us onto hands and knees, and then walk your knees forward to sit back on your seat. So we're going to bring our feet out in front. We're going to try some variations of boat pose before we come onto our backs. So boat pose can look like this even, just with your feet on the mat. You're using the strength of your core to hold you upright, and you can bring your hands onto the back of your thighs, or you could stretch your arms out long in front. If you'd like to explore some balance here, you can begin to sink back as you come to find balance, maybe lifting the feet up off the mat. You'll definitely feel a little strengthening in your core here. So you could do one foot at a time. And just playing around with whatever feels good to you. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll onto our back. So you can land your feet, stretch your arms out long, and then use the strength of your core to roll onto your back. You can begin to draw your knees towards your chest, gently rock a little side to side. Begin to feel your back supported by the earth. And then you might walk your hands up your shins and maybe to the knife edge of your foot. Wherever you land, you're just drawing your knees towards your armpits for happy baby pose. It might feel good to rock a little bit gently side to side. We're going to be getting ready for what's called the final resting pose, Shavasana, or corpse pose. So I wanted to do a little bit of work with legs up the wall or on a couch. This can be a gentle inversion. So if you have a chair handy or if you have the wall handy, let's just go ahead towards that space, any kind of space that you have. And you could even do this just on your back without a wall or a couch. So if you're coming to your couch, you're gonna bring your hips towards the couch and then roll onto your side. So you're kind of in an L shape at the wall or couch or chair. And then we can roll over so that your legs are now extending either up the wall with the heels facing up or possibly on a couch cushion or chair. From here, you can either continue to just relax with your legs up the wall, or you might find figure 4 pose. So for this, I like to bring the right foot to the edge of the cushion or onto the wall, and then bring your left ankle over your right knee. Now, of course, you can do this on your back without any of the supports of the wall or a chair, and just grasp hold of the back of your right thigh. But I find that to be a lot of effort for my upper body. And so that's why I like to use couch cushion or a wall space so that I can rest the top of my body. So from here, you might just notice sensation in the outer right hip. You can begin to press your right knee away from you and maybe flex the toes towards the knees. Take a nice deep breath here. And then with your next exhale, we'll get ready to switch sides. So you can unwind that twist. And then with your left foot on the wall, so it'd be pressing against the wall or on a cushion, you can wrap your right ankle over the top of your left thigh and just find that nice deep stretch for the outer right hip. Maybe pressing the right knee away from you or flexing the toes towards the knees. You might begin to close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Take some nice deep breaths here. Whenever you feel ready, you can unwind from this. And like I mentioned, you can either leave your legs cascading off of the edge of the couch, or maybe the legs are resting up a wall with the feet up towards the sky. Wherever you decide to land, this can be a really nice, gentle inversion to help reverse the flow of gravity in the body and the flow of circulation, especially in these hotter months, helping our lymph drain. So let's feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. You can even take your whole entire Shavasana with legs up the wall. Or if you'd like, you can come to lying on your back. Wherever you land for your final resting pose, corpse pose, allow your eyes to soften, maybe close down the eyes. Allow your jaw to soften. Smooth out the edges of your forehead. Allow your shoulders to relax onto the mat. Feel the earth rise to support you. Notice if you can cultivate gratitude for all of the supports in your life. Allow yourself to sense the feeling of contentment. We're going to continue to rest like this for a little while. I have some quotes to offer from Deborah Adele's book called The Yamas and the Niyamas. Coming back to the idea of santosha, contentment. We let our contentment be managed by uncontrollable variables. As long as we think satisfaction comes from an external source, we can never be content. Looking outward for fulfillment will always disappoint us and keep contentment one step out of reach. True freedom and contentment begin to find their way to us when we can see things as they are, neutral, and not spend so much energy manipulating things according to our preferences. I am reminded by the wisdom of a 116-year-old man who, when asked the secret of his longevity, replied, "When it rains, I let it." For the next few moments, we're going to rest in quiet Shavasana. If you find your thoughts become busy, planning the next thing, or reflecting on the past, you might allow those thoughts to be like gentle clouds. Allow them to drift by. You can begin to start to deepen your breath. Once more, revisit your heart center, your glowing seed of intention. With each inhale, allow your heart center to expand in all directions, increasing your capacity to give and receive love from your heart. With your mind's eye, you might allow yourself to zoom out and see your place in the universe. What amazing creation, miracle to be at this time and place. Go ahead and start to invite a little movement into the fingers and toes. Gently begin to rotate the wrists and the ankles. With each movement, you can offer gratitude to this body that brought you here, and to yourself for carving out this special time and place. When you're ready with your next inhale, go ahead and reach your arms up past your ears to find a long body stretch. And then you can hug your knees towards your chest and maybe roll onto one side, finding a fetal position. You can cradle your head onto your bicep. And take a few rounds of breath here. Whenever you're ready, you can gently use the strength of your arms to press yourself up into a seat. Once you arrive at your seated position, you can inhale to reach the arms up overhead and exhale to draw your hands to your heart center. Allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to guide you through your practice this morning. Thank you so much for being here today. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you guys have any questions or thoughts about class, I'm going to send a list of props that would be helpful for next time. Ouch, I just stepped on a rock. Just let me know. Yeah, I welcome any questions or thoughts. Does anybody have any?
It felt good. I don't know how to define, but I felt good.
Good. Okay, I'm going to
thank you. It's nice to be outside, but it's